The Chicago skyline glittered like broken glass against the velvet night. Sebastian Hayes knelt on the rooftop of Meridian Sky, his grandmother's sapphire ring catching candlelight between his trembling fingers. "Alina," he said, his voice thick with 2 years of love. "This ring belonged to my grandmother. 63 years she wore it. Before she died, she made me promise to give it only to someone who would treasure what it means, not what it costs." Alina's smile froze. Her eyes fixed on the deep blue stone, calculating something Sebastian couldn't read. "Will you marry me?" "Of course," she said, too quickly. The kiss felt cold. Sebastian poured champagne while Alina disappeared to the restroom, phone already in hand. He should have felt joy. Instead, his chest tightened with something he couldn't name. Near the corridor, Grace Coleman sat alone, waiting for a client. The bakery owner had kind eyes and flowers still dusted under her fingernails from the morning rush. She noticed the beautiful woman in the crimson dress, phone pressed to her ear, laughing. "Jessica, you won't believe this." He proposed with his grandmother's old ring. Antique, vintage, totally outdated. Like something from a museum, not Harry Winston. Grace's stomach dropped. "I said yes, obviously. Do you know how much he's worth? But the first thing I'm doing is getting a proper engagement ring. This grandmother situation is embarrassing. I can't post this on social media. People will think he's cheap." Grace saw the man returning, saw the exact moment he heard his fiancée's voice. "Honestly, Jessica, I've been playing this game perfectly. He's so in love. Once we're married, I'll have access to everything. His portfolio, his properties. This is what I've been working toward." Sebastian stood frozen in the corridor. The champagne bottle slipped from the waiter's hand with a sharp clink. Alina spun around. "Honey, I was just telling Jessica about our engagement." But Sebastian had already seen the truth. Without a word, he turned and walked away, past the concerned maitre d', past the glittering tables, into the cold Chicago night where the city lights looked like shards of broken dreams. "Wait. Let me explain." Alina's voice echoed behind him. It was just girl talk. He kept walking. Grace sat motionless, her heart breaking for a stranger. When Alina rushed past minutes later, something glinted on the floor. The sapphire ring, abandoned in the chaos. Grace picked it up carefully. The weight of 3 generations pressed into her palm. This ring deserved better than to be mocked and discarded. Tomorrow, she would find its rightful owner. Tonight, she would keep it safe from someone who had never deserved it at all. 3 days of silence. Sebastian stared at his phone, at Alina's 47 unanswered messages, at the private investigator's report that made his stomach turn. Screenshots of group chats where she called him her retirement plan. Photos of the ring with captions reading, "When your millionaire boyfriend gives you grandma's hand-me-downs." Then a new message appeared. Unknown number. "Mr. Hayes, this is Grace Coleman from Sweet Haven Bakery. I was at Meridian Sky the night of your proposal. I found something that belongs to you." His hands shook as he typed back. "What did you find?" "The sapphire ring. It fell during the commotion. I thought you might want it back." 4 hours later, Sebastian stood outside a small storefront with yellow awnings and hand-painted window displays. The smell of vanilla and caramelized sugar drifted through the door. Inside, a woman with warm brown eyes and flour-dusted hands looked up from behind the counter. "Mr. Hayes?" "Sebastian," he said quietly. "Please." Grace wiped her hands on her apron and retrieved a small velvet pouch from beneath the register. She placed it gently on the counter between them. "I'm sorry," she said. "For what happened? I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I heard everything." Sebastian opened the pouch. His grandmother's ring gleamed up at him, still perfect, still whole. Unlike everything else that night. "Thank you," he whispered. You have no idea what this means. I think I do. Grace's voice was soft. 3 years ago, my fiancé called off our wedding 2 weeks before the date. Said he'd met someone else. Someone more exciting, more ambitious. He left me with a failed catering business and $60,000 in debt. Their eyes met. Recognition passed between two people who understood the same kind of pain. How did you survive it? Sebastian asked. I stopped trying to be what someone else wanted. Started this bakery. Built something real. She paused. The debt's almost paid off now. Turns out I'm better at baking cakes than baking myself into someone else's dream. Sebastian laughed, a broken sound that surprised them both. She called my grandmother's ring embarrassing. Said she was playing a game. That I was her investment portfolio. Then she never deserved you, Grace said simply. Your client, Sebastian said suddenly. The wedding cake consultation. Did they ever show up? Grace smiled sadly. Cancelled. Turned out the couple broke up that same night. Apparently, the groom had doubts. I'm sorry. Don't be. I got to witness something that night. Someone offering real love, genuine sentiment. That proposal was beautiful, Sebastian. What you said, what that ring meant. That was real. Sebastian looked at the ring, then at Grace. Would you have coffee with me? Not as a date. Just as two people who understand what it's like to offer your heart to the wrong person? Grace hesitated. Something flickered in her eyes, a shadow Sebastian couldn't read. I'd like that, she said finally. But there's something you should know first. Something about that night. Something I haven't told you. The door chimed. A delivery driver walked in, breaking the moment. Hold that thought, Grace said, moving to sign for a package. Sebastian's phone buzzed. A message from Alina, I'm pregnant. His world tilted sideways. Sebastian sat in Grace's small office behind the bakery, staring at his phone. The words blurred, I'm pregnant. Sebastian? Grace's voice pulled him back. What's wrong? He showed her the message. Grace's face went pale. Oh God. She's lying, Sebastian said, but his voice wavered. She has to be lying. This is just another manipulation. You need to find out for sure. I know. He stood, pacing the cramped space between stacks of cake boxes. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come here. This isn't your problem. Sit down, Grace said firmly. Tell me what you're thinking. Sebastian sank back into the chair. I'm thinking about a child growing up with a mother who sees people as investments. I'm thinking about my responsibility if this is real. I'm thinking I'm trapped. You're not trapped. You're just scared. Grace leaned forward. Look, I don't know Alina. But I know what I heard that night. And I know you deserve better than being manipulated. What were you going to tell me? Sebastian asked suddenly. Before the delivery driver came. You said there was something I should know. Grace's hands twisted in her lap. It can wait. Grace. I said it can wait, Sebastian. The sharpness in her voice surprised them both. Grace stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. I'm sorry, she whispered. I can't. Not right now. Sebastian's phone rang. Alina. He declined the call. Then it rang again. And again. Answer it, Grace said. You need to deal with this. He picked up. Sebastian, finally. Did you get my message? Alina's voice was breathless, urgent. Is it true? Yes. I took 3 tests. I was going to tell you that night at the restaurant, but then everything fell apart. Sebastian, we're having a baby. I heard what you said to Jessica. Silence. Then, I know. I was awful. I was nervous about the pregnancy and I said horrible things. But Sebastian, this changes everything. We're going to be parents. We need to figure this out. Grace watched Sebastian's face as he listened. She saw the conflict there, the war between betrayal and biology. I need proof, Sebastian said finally. Meet me at Dr. Morrison's office tomorrow at 2. Bring the test results. Of course. Sebastian, I love you. I know I messed up, but I love you. He hung up without responding. You're going to take her back, Grace said quietly. It wasn't a question. I don't know what I'm going to do. Yes, you do. You're a good man. If she's really pregnant, you'll try to make it work. For the child. Grace. You should go. She turned away, busying herself with reorganizing supplies that didn't need reorganizing. I hope everything works out. Sebastian stood. Thank you. For the ring. For listening. For understanding. He was halfway to the door when Grace spoke again. I knew who you were. Sebastian turned. What? That night at the restaurant. I recognized you. Sebastian Hayes, the tech genius who built Apex Solutions. Your company created the software that destroyed my catering business 3 years ago. The air left the room. Your app, Grace continued, her voice steady now, controlled. The one that connects event planners directly with venues and caterers. It cut out small businesses like mine. We couldn't compete with your algorithm. I lost everything because of what you built. Sebastian felt the floor shift beneath him. Grace, I didn't know. Of course you didn't. People like you never see the collateral damage. She finally looked at him, and her eyes were dry but distant. I kept the ring because it was the right thing to do. But I'm not some fairy tale woman who's going to save you from your mistakes, Sebastian. I have my own scars. My own damage. Why didn't you tell me? Because for 3 days, I got to pretend. I got to sit across from someone and connect over shared pain without the weight of my own resentment. It felt good. It felt real. She laughed bitterly. Turns out I'm just as good at playing games as Alina. That's not fair. Life isn't fair. You should know that by now. Grace moved to the door, holding it open. Go deal with your pregnant ex-fiancée. I have cakes to bake. Sebastian walked past her, stopped. I'm sorry. For what my company did to yours. I never wanted to hurt people. But you did, Grace said softly. Good intentions don't erase consequences. The door closed between them with a gentle click that sounded like an ending. Dr. Morrison's office smelled like antiseptic and false hope. Sebastian sat in the waiting room, watching Alina fill out paperwork with manicured precision. She dressed carefully for this appointment, soft cashmere sweater and minimal makeup, playing the part of frightened expectant mother. Sebastian, she said, not looking up. Thank you for coming. He didn't respond. The nurse called them back. Blood was drawn. Forms were signed. Dr. Morrison, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and no-nonsense demeanor, reviewed the test results. Congratulations, she said. You're approximately 6 weeks pregnant. Alina reached for Sebastian's hand. He let her take it, felt nothing. I'll prescribe prenatal vitamins. We'll schedule your first ultrasound for 2 weeks from now. Dr. Morrison looked between them, sensing the tension. Do you have any questions? Just one, Sebastian said. Can you confirm the conception date? Alina's hand tightened on his. Dr. Morrison checked her notes. Based on the hormone levels and your last menstrual period, conception would have been approximately 6 weeks ago. Give or take a few days. 6 weeks. They'd been in Miami for a tech conference 6 weeks ago. Separate rooms because Alina claimed she needed her own space to network properly. He'd barely seen her that weekend. "Thank you, doctor," Sebastian said. In the parking lot, Alina turned to him. "I know what you're thinking." "Do you?" "That night in Miami. I made a mistake, Sebastian. I was drunk and scared about us and I slept with someone from the conference. But I ended it immediately. Came back to you. This baby is yours. Or his. It's yours. I know it is." Sebastian looked at the woman he'd almost married. "You're lying. You've been lying since the beginning. About loving me, about wanting a future, about everything. I'm not lying about this baby." "No," Sebastian agreed. "But you're lying about it being mine. Miami was 7 weeks ago, Alina. Not 6. Her face crumbled. Real fear showed through the careful mask. "Please, Sebastian. I need you. The father, he's married. He wants nothing to do with this. I have no one. My family will disown me. I'll lose everything. Like I almost lost everything to you. I'm begging you. We can make this work. I'll be better. I'll change. We can raise this child together. Based on a lie. Based on a chance." Alina grabbed his arm. "People build marriages on less. You're rich, I'm connected. We make sense together. And you'd be an amazing father. That part isn't a lie." Sebastian pulled free. "Goodbye, Alina. You'll regret this. You'll end up alone, too afraid to trust anyone ever again." He drove away, her voice fading in his rearview mirror. But her words followed him. She was right about one thing. He was terrified of trusting again. 2 hours later, Sebastian stood outside Sweet Haven Bakery. Through the window, he watched Grace ice a 3-tier wedding cake with steady hands. She looked peaceful. Whole. He shouldn't be here. He'd already caused her enough pain. The bell chimed as he entered. Grace looked up, surprise flickering across her face. "Sebastian. She's not pregnant with my child," he said. "The dates don't match. She's been lying about everything. I'm sorry." "Are you?" He moved closer. "Because you lied too, Grace. You knew who I was. What my company did to yours. And you still gave me the ring back. Still listen to me. Why?" Grace set down her piping bag carefully. "Because hurt people recognize each other. Because that proposal was real, even if she wasn't. Because sometimes doing the right thing matters more than getting revenge. I want to make it right. Your business. The debt. Let me help." "No. Grace. I don't want your money, Sebastian. I want to build something I'm proud of on my own terms. Your guilt doesn't get to become my charity case." She wiped her hands on her apron. "Besides, I lied too. About my motivation." "What do you mean?" "That night at the restaurant, I recognized you immediately. And my first thought wasn't sympathy. It was satisfaction. Watching you hurt. Watching karma catch up to the man whose company destroyed mine." Her voice broke. "Then I heard what she said, and I saw your face, and all that satisfaction turned to ash. Because I'm not that person. I don't want to be that person. You kept the ring safe. I almost didn't. I almost threw it away. Let you lose one more thing." Tears tracked down her cheeks. "But I couldn't. Because it mattered. Because your grandmother mattered. Because somewhere under all my anger, I still believe in real things." Sebastian reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. I destroyed your business, he said. You built something innovative. I was collateral damage. I broke your trust before we even met. And I judged you before knowing you. This is a terrible foundation for anything. Grace laughed through her tears. The worst. Coffee? Sebastian asked. Real coffee this time. Where we're honest about everything. Our damage, our scars, our terrible timing. I'm supposed to deliver this cake in 3 hours. I'll help you load it. Grace looked at him for a long moment. Okay, she said finally. But Sebastian? I can't be your redemption story. And you can't be my second chance. If we do this, we have to be two broken people figuring things out together. I don't want redemption, Sebastian said. I want real. Even if it's messy. They loaded the cake into Grace's van. As Sebastian climbed into the passenger seat, his phone buzzed. A message from Alina's number, but not from her. Mr. Hayes, this is Jessica Chen, Alina's friend. She's at Mercy Hospital. She fell down the stairs at her apartment. The baby. Please come. Mercy Hospital's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like mechanical insects. Sebastian and Grace stood outside Alina's room, watching through the window as doctors consulted quietly. You don't have to be here, Sebastian said. Yes, I do. Grace's voice was steady. You shouldn't face this alone. Jessica emerged from the room, mascara streaked and shaking. She lost the baby. They said the fall was too severe. Sebastian felt the weight of that news settle somewhere between relief and grief. Relief that he wouldn't be tied to Alina forever. Grief for a child that had never been his, but had still been real. Can I see her? She's asking for you. Alina lay in the hospital bed, smaller somehow, stripped of her usual armor. No perfect makeup, no designer clothes, just a broken woman in a cotton gown. Sebastian, she whispered. I'm so sorry. For everything. He pulled up a chair. I'm sorry you're going through this. You don't have to lie. I know you're relieved. She turned away. The baby's father, he came by earlier. Told me to lose his number. Said I was crazy to think he'd leave his wife. Alina. I know what I am, Sebastian. What I've always been. Chasing the wrong things for the wrong reasons. My mother raised me to marry well, to secure my future. I just took it too far. She looked at him finally. You would have been a good father. Even to a child that wasn't yours. That's the difference between us. Where will you go? My sister's in Portland. She's been asking me to visit for years. Maybe I'll actually go. Figure out who I am when I'm not performing. A sad smile. Thank you for coming. You didn't have to. I know. The woman in the hallway. That's her, isn't it? The bakery owner. Yes. She looks at you like you matter. Like you're more than a portfolio or a status symbol. Alina's voice cracked. Don't mess it up, Sebastian. Some people get second chances. Don't waste yours. In the hallway, Grace was talking quietly with Jessica. He really loved her, Jessica was saying. Alina, I mean. Before everything went wrong. She just couldn't see it. Sometimes people can't recognize love when they've never learned what it looks like, Grace said gently. Sebastian joined them. She'll be okay. Physically, at least. Jessica nodded. I'll stay with her tonight. Make sure she gets to her sisters. Outside, the night air carried the scent of rain. Sebastian and Grace walked to the parking garage in silence. You were kind to her, Sebastian said finally. She's lost enough today. I don't deserve you. Grace stopped walking. Stop saying that. Neither of us deserves anything, Sebastian. We're just two people with messy histories trying to figure out what comes next. What does come next? I don't know. Grace looked up at him. But I know I want to find out. Despite everything. Despite the app that destroyed my business. Despite you being engaged to someone else 3 weeks ago. Despite this being completely illogical. Illogical sounds right. Sebastian smiled. Nothing about this makes sense. The cake delivery, Grace said suddenly. We missed it. Oh God. Grace, I'm so sorry. It's fine. I called the bride from the hospital. Rescheduled for tomorrow. She laughed. Turns out she appreciated the honesty. Said anyone who admits they're at a hospital with a complicated situation instead of making excuses deserves a second chance. Second chances seem to be going around tonight. They reached Grace's van. The city stretched out below them, lights flickering in the darkness like promises. Coffee, Grace said. You promised me honest coffee. There's a diner 3 blocks from here. Open all night. Terrible coffee, amazing pie. Perfect. They drove through Chicago's late-night streets, past Sebastian's proposal restaurant, past Grace's bakery, past all the places where their paths had crossed in pain. The diner glowed warm against the cold night. Inside, they ordered coffee and pie and sat across from each other in a worn vinyl booth. Tell me about your grandmother, Grace said. Sebastian pulled out the ring, set it on the table between them. Rose Hayes. She met my grandfather at a USO dance in 1943. He proposed 3 weeks later with this ring. Everyone said it was too fast, too reckless. They were married for 63 years. 3 weeks, Grace murmured. Sometimes you just know. And sometimes you're completely wrong. Also true. Sebastian turned the ring in the light. She told me once that marriage wasn't about finding someone perfect. It was about finding someone whose damage fit with yours. Someone willing to grow alongside you. That's beautiful. What about you? Your failed engagement. What happened to him? Grace stirred her coffee. Marcus. He married the other woman 6 months later. They seem happy. I used to hate them for it. Now I'm just grateful he was honest enough to leave before the wedding. Unlike Alina. Unlike Alina. They talked until the diner's overnight shift changed, until the pie was gone and the coffee had gone cold. They talked about dreams and failures, about building things and losing them, about the weight of other people's expectations. I should go, Grace said finally. I have a cake to deliver in 6 hours. Can I see you again? Yes. Really? Grace reached across the table, touched his hand. We're both terrified. Both damaged. Both carrying more baggage than any reasonable person would want to deal with. But Sebastian? I'd rather be terrified with you than safe and numb alone. That might be the most honest thing anyone's ever said to me. Get used to it. Honesty is all I have left to offer. Sebastian picked up the sapphire ring, held it for a moment, then put it back in his pocket. Not yet, he said. But maybe someday. When we're both ready. When it means what it's supposed to mean. Someday, Grace agreed. But first we figure out today. They walked out into the Chicago dawn, the city waking up around them. No promises made except to be present, to be honest, to let broken pieces find their own shape together. 6 months later, Grace's bakery had a line out the door. Sebastian's new app focused on supporting small businesses instead of replacing them. They took things slowly, learned each other's triggers and tender spots, built something real from the ruins of what they'd lost. The sapphire ring stayed in Sebastian's drawer. Waiting. Not a symbol of what had failed, but a promise of what might still be possible when two people chose each other with clear eyes and open hearts. On their one-year anniversary, Sebastian and Grace returned to Meridian Sky. Same restaurant, different people. They sat at a simple table, no grand gestures, no performances. "What are you thinking?" Grace asked. Sebastian looked at her, flowers still under her fingernails, warmth in her eyes, real in every sense that mattered. "I'm thinking your grandmother was right about damage fitting together," he said. And I'm grateful for every broken piece that led me here." Grace smiled. "Me too. Sometimes the best love stories don't start with love at all. They start with two people willing to be honest about their scars, brave enough to heal together, and patient enough to let forever happen one messy, beautiful day at a time." The end.